In the midst of the historic peace process taking place over in Europe, the United States, and Ukraine, we're bringing you someone who's live in theater to give you the ground truth today on the David Rutherford Show. All right, everybody. I know that if you're like me, you've absolutely been enthralled with all the news that's coming out of the European Union, coming out of the Trump administration, coming out of Ukraine, in this quest that Trump has been making since day one. The lead up, he said, "I'm going to get in week one. I'm going to bring peace to the region and to this epic war, this epic battle of attrition that we've been watching play out, where these poor young men are being thrown into the meat grinder day in and day out." Well, I had this incredible opportunity. I was contacted online by a gentleman who goes by Aladdin on X, Mr. Steven Al Ebadi. And he reached out and was like, "Hey, Rut, man, I would love to come on. Let's do this. And I want to give you some ground truth." So coming to you live right now, where he just had a drone strike hit about a quarter mile away from a cafe in Ukraine at 9:30 at night. Steven, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your insane schedule, getting the ground truth, to share what you've learned with our friends.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I've been watching you for quite a while right now. And initially, I actually discovered you on Sean Ryan's show. That's wild story you have, incredible life, very genuine guy. And I thought you were like very genuine, so I decided to follow you on X and see what you're all about. So I've been watching your shows periodically on YouTube. Yeah, let's get into it. How do you want to get this going? The free flow, ask whatever you want.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest thing for me is just to give people a little bit of your background, and then why you felt compelled to fly over and start reporting in probably one of the most dangerous regions in the world. Like, how does your life and that come together?
So I'm going to make it very quick because we have a time restraint here because the curfew and whatnot. So we got about like an hour and a half.
And whatnot. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, he says whatnot could be actual drone hitting where he's broadcasting from right now. So, man, yeah, brother, go for it.
Yeah. So born, raised in Baghdad. I started as a linguist back in 2003 and ended up working with the Green Beret guys. They brought me to the United States under the SIV program. So I've been a U.S. citizen for quite a while. So I went back as a contractor. Then I became a government employee. So I was a GS-13 intelligence officer with the Army CI Command. Terminated 2 weeks before the election. Politics had a lot to do with it. And it's a crazy story. Maybe we can do another show talking.
Yeah, let's do that when you got a little bit more non-invasive area, and we can just sit back and tell your amazing story. So
deployed multiple times, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all that crazy stuff. I was actually involved in the Ukraine situation. I was the senior Polad in Germany for SAGU, the Security Assistance Group Ukraine. It's a NATO mission led by U.S. And I went to Germany in good faith. They found out I was a Republican. They did some shenanigans. They curtailed my TDY, sent me back home. That had a lot to do with my termination from the government. Yeah, that was 2023, 2024. And after I got terminated, I couldn't get a job. So, not even a contract job. And obviously when the Trump administration came in, they did the whole hiring freeze, even for contracts and all that stuff. And I couldn't get a job. My security clearance went to LOJ status, loss of jurisdiction. And I was just sitting in limbo. So, and with the whole Doge stuff, start popping up in early this year. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let me, use some of the skills the government taught me against some of the, contract fraud and NGOs inside of the United States. So I broke some stories, some funding, Data Republican picked it up and a few other people picked it up. So my account grew. And I was like, okay, let me be a journalist and just uncover fraud and just pull up USA funding and from USA.gov, USAspending.gov and the FPDS database. And that's basically what I did. Then eventually I just couldn't land an actual job, stable job. And I was like, okay, screw this. I initially wanted to come to Ukraine on the ground a while back to report on what happened, and I just pulled the plug. And actually, I had almost zero money in my pocket. I did crowdsource funding on GoFundMe, so I got a few $1,000, got a ticket, and I came here. So the GoFundMe is still live. It's pinned on my X profile if anybody want to chip in to keep this going, because I'm trying to stay here for extended period of time to actually get the entire truth and the actual sentiment of the Ukrainian people on the ground, not necessarily just targeting one story or another. It's like I'm trying to go different regions, different cities, capturing as much information as possible from non-biased perspective. So yeah, initially I came to Kyiv, and Kyiv was wild. Kyiv basically is getting attacked almost daily. And I captured, like literally, you'll see the air defense. The other day I put out a video and we got attacked in Kyiv, and I was able to capture the air defense, anti-aircraft and drone. It was going off and you can see the bullets. It was like, it was going, yeah, it was going off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
now tell me, I mean, obviously, exposing government corruption is, in my opinion, probably the greatest story that exists out right there, the magnitude of what we're looking at. And I don't know if you just saw, but they canceled Doge. That came out yesterday. They've officially shut Doge down with 8 more months left on the initiative. Yeah. Well, I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You knew something was going to go wrong. And I think that's what, those types of things are what really make people question what actually the truth is going on. And so the fact that you have the courage and then the willpower to want to go to, I think, when you look at all the different places that the American population is focused on in terms of corruption, in terms of the future of peace, right? We put him in office because we didn't want any new wars, and he said he was going to stop them. Ukraine is the center of that whole thing. When you talk about that fair, that unbiased reporting, is it hard going over with that in mind, knowing just the intense struggle that the Ukrainian people live with every day? And also I'm sure because of your time in Iraq and Afghanistan, you also understand the negative influence of Russia and what they do through proxies in these foreign areas and lands. I mean, your country certainly has taken heavies from pretty much all sides. But, the fact that you're now an American citizen, it's like, all right, I want to continue to see and root this out for my own validation, if you will. Was it nerve-wracking, or did you just know I have to go do this?
I had deep feelings about it, to be honest with you. I wanted to do it from the bottom of my heart, because I know a lot about Ukraine, and from personal reasons, my ex-girlfriend was Ukrainian, came into United States back in 2014, actually. So I knew a lot about the culture. The culture is extremely conservative. Those people are very conservative, family-oriented. But coming on the ground, it's a whole different perspective you see, especially these people, they have an extreme grit and willpower. Very proud people. They do know they have a lot of corruption with the old school oligarch mentality from the Soviet Union and whatnot. And they're combating it. The actual Ukrainian people on the ground fighting tooth and nail, combating the corruption here in Ukraine. It may not get reported on the news But yeah, people here, they're fed up with the corruption and they're fighting it within, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the government to do something about it. So that's good to see. And it's kind of refreshing because the Ukrainian people are tired from all of that crap as well. And they just want to see, they want to live in peace and they want to see their country prosper. They're extremely generous people, very nice. The culture is very conservative. I've attended consecutively three Sunday church services here, and they're absolutely church God-loving people, and you see it as well, and on daily life. You may see a lot of videos out there, nightclubs and whatnot. Yeah, they do exist. I'm not gonna lie, but you've seen it overseas in Iraq and other areas where people are so tired of conflict, it becomes normal. So they get desensitized from the everyday horror. So they just go about their life and try to have a good time without worrying. It was like, am I gonna die this second or not? So it became a normal thing. Like literally the drone I told you just hit, about 30 minutes ago, about 45 minutes ago right now. I heard it and I was like looking around trying to see if anybody freaking out. And it was like, it became normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. That's how it became here. They got used to it because it's daily, every day, multiple times. And, I guess from talking to people, it was like, they were like, we can submit and live in fear, or we can just live our lives. And if we die, we die. This is it. That's basically our time has come. And, I was like, you know what? I respect that because I've seen it overseas in conflict zones.
Oh my God, you lived it. I mean, you lived it. I mean, you lived in the most intense in the last 25 years and the heart of Iraq. I mean, that's the thing my buddies always talked about is, you know, you get so caught up in waging war that sometimes you negate to look around you and look at the impact of the people who are just civilians, just trying to feed their family and wake up every day and go to work and you know, provide some kind of stability in a perpetually unstable environment, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start at one thing. So one of the things that, you know, I think I always get sucked into when I try and do a deep dive on Ukraine is that there is a considerable portion of the Ukrainian population that do have close ties to Russia. Now, are the people that you're engaging with, do they feel like, you know, the people who are, you know, over in the regions that are being disputed, the regions that Russia has conquered or that are fighting for right now, is there an idea that those people, they actually want to be a part of Russia, or they're being held against their will under this tyrant, right? Because I mean, there's a long history of Russia-Ukrainian engagement. I mean, I remember Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin. He starts in the 1500s, and it's like, all right, obviously there is a deep connection between Russian people and Ukrainian people. I mean, hell, Zelensky, you know, used to speak Russian regularly. What do local people you're talking, do they feel as if those people who are on the eastern edge of Russia, that they're delusional, they're being held against their will, or what's their explanation of why those people have the views they do?
So there's a mixed view from my understanding so far on the ground. And the closer to the Eastern Front you get to, the more Russian ties you have, because a lot of those people retired USSR military and so forth. Some of them, they were still on Russia retirement paycheck as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like from the old Soviet Union military. So yeah, there's obviously intertwined deep connection, but at the same time, those people, a lot of them, they settled with the Ukrainian identity. So,
okay.
Yeah. There is a lot of people, from my understanding, are held against their will. Some are happy to be part of Russia. So there's a mix. And being on the ground, the western portion of Ukraine, they do not speak Russian. Mm-hmm. They speak Ukrainian. And the middle of Ukraine, they speak mix between Ukrainian and Russian. And the eastern portion of Ukraine, they speak Russian and some Ukrainian. But throughout the years from 2004, they did referendum and they start teaching kids the Ukrainian in school to establish their actual Ukrainian identity. But the older generation, like the Gen X and even some of the millennial and what is it? The older folks here.
The boomers. The boomers.
The boomers, they all speak Russian, especially on the eastern, middle Ukraine, eastern. And the younger you get, the more Ukrainian identity you see. And they're very proud of it. And even the boomers, they're very proud to be Ukrainians. It's just, their entire life they spoke Russians. Like I'm in Odessa right now. In Odessa right now. A lot of them, they still speak Russian. And some, like talking to people, I was like, I say like Vitayo, Diaku, whatever. It was like basically, how you doing? And obviously those are Ukrainian words, not Russian words. It was like, oh yeah, Ukrainian. And, I was like, yeah, so don't speak Russian, whatever. And, but they still speak Russian here, even when they communicate with each other. But they're trying to change that.
Right.
Yeah. In Kyiv, they take it as an insult. Like if you say Russian words, because they're really pushing the Ukrainian identity. Mm-hmm. But here's like a little bit more laxed. And a lot of the people that moved to Odessa, they came from Dnipro and the actual eastern region. They kind of resettled into the middle, south of Ukraine. So there's a lot of mix in that. And Odessa, I guess previously they all almost spoke Russians. So yeah, so you still have that. But the younger generation, like if I talk to younger folks here, like a hookah bar, whatever, restaurants and whatnot, cafes, they refuse to speak Russian. They just communicate either in English because they want to prove their English, which is kind of refreshing to see. And speak Ukrainian. So I think in a generation or whatnot, everybody in this region, they will be speaking Ukrainian after the boomers and whatever dies off. And
got it.
Yeah, they go. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Obviously, we're inundated with the stories of people getting sucked off the streets.
I have not seen that.
Throwing in. I know you haven't. What my question is do you notice in not absent, but a less than thriving young male population present? I mean, is it like you walk into these cities that you're visiting or towns and you notice there's not very many young men around? Is that a viable thing, or is that completely inflated that, is not true?
No, it's a bunch of bullshit. Young kids.
Okay.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah, there is actually, matter of fact, the Ukrainian parliament passed a resolution a few months ago. They allowed young people anywhere from basically being a teenager until the age of 22 to leave the country. They have an option. There was about 100,000 they left already. Mm-hmm. But the majority, they stayed because they love their country and they want to stay here. And I'm talking to people, it was like, have you thought about leaving? And they're like, yeah, but we've been hearing from our friends, like they go to Western countries, United States, Europe, and whatnot, and they're telling us like life is extremely hard, and not getting that much support, especially in the United States, and so we don't want to go through that struggle and start from scratch. So we are content being here. Plus, we love our country and we want to stay and fight. And so that's good to see. And I've actually met a lot of people. They had a chance to actually leave Ukraine. They left and they came back. It was like, hey, we don't want to live in the West. That's not align with our values. And they talked a lot. I spoke to a lot of people and they talked a lot about the woke culture in the West. Mm-hmm. And the LGBTQ was like, no, that's not, yeah, we're not about that stuff. So they, packed their stuff, came back to Ukraine and restarted their life again. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And
that's fascinating.
I talked to a number of people. They lived in Germany, Netherlands, England, United States, you name it. And they came back because they did not want to deal with the woke culture in the West.
That makes sense. All right. All right. So have you talked to anybody that's been in the fight so far, guys? Any veterans, any injured people? What have they shared with you, and what's their interpretation of the whole thing?
It's pretty brutal. I spoke to people on a train. A lot of them don't speak English, so I had to use like a DeepL translation app. Because I see people like with the military uniforms, so I asked them, it's like, hey, are you military? And they're like, yes. And I've seen people missing limbs. You see that everywhere. And the numbers are staggering. And it's very sad. Anywhere you go, you'll see people like that. And I had a chance to speak to multiple people. Multiple soldiers from anywhere, enlisted to military officers. Usually the officers, a lot of them speak English, okay English. The enlisted, obviously they don't, because they come from a lower class. And, it's pretty brutal. Apparently the front line is 10 times worse than what's projected, but they're holding their own. And and they are deeply, deeply grateful for the American people and the American government help. And they openly admit it. It was like, if it wasn't for America, we would have lost our country, but we are doing the fight. And
wow.
Yeah. I was happy to hear that. At least they appreciate, and acknowledge the help that we have given them. And they used our weapons to fend off and basically hold Russia into almost like a stall trench line right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there may be skirmishes here and there, like Russia may be taking a small territory, a few kilometers here. They lose it back a couple weeks later. And so it's back and forth, but it's basically a very steady line at this point. And I don't want to give the actual Russian rotation plan, the Ukrainian rotation plan, because, I got into a deep discussion with, a connection I have is a high level colonel, in the Ukrainian military. So we got into a pretty detailed, conversation on how they're doing their rotations at the front line and whatnot. I don't want to talk about it online, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never want you to compromise their tactical realities there on the ground. All right. So the other question is really, I think that's on everybody's mind, is what do the Ukrainian people, or one of the questions, what do the Ukrainian people want? I mean, obviously they want to win the war, but I would imagine now, this many years in, and the support that Russia has built up from, their support from China, their support from Iran, North Korea sending troops, they have a nice little coalition going that, is doing well. And it doesn't seem like all the sanctions have crippled their economy too badly. They're still selling plenty of oil around the world. What do the Ukrainian people believe they need in order to kind of begin to turn the tides in their favor?
They want proper weapons. I can tell you one thing. During the Biden admin, when I was a poll ad for the SAG-U operation, actually the Biden administration did not give proper support to Ukraine. As much as money that we sent or weapons and whatnot, everything we sent them, it was like old, broken. But we sent Bradleys that does not work. Like literally.
Oh, wow.
Like literally it went to Jonieska, Poland, J-Town. And that's basically the main hub of supplies where they load it up on the train. They send it to Ukraine. We send the Ukrainian military from like literally tanks, Bradleys and bunch of equipments and even howitzers like 155s, 120. That doesn't work. It's,
wow.
they're like literally broken. So they had to take multiple different Bradleys. And this is like repeated thing. They had to take multiple different Bradleys, like change the turret on this one because the turret on this one works, or the electronic on this one works, but doesn't work on this one. And the gearbox from this one works and this one doesn't. So it's like doing bunch of swaps, like out of like maybe 5 Bradleys, they may get like 2 or 3 working. And same thing with the Abram tanks. And the Abram tanks that we send them, a lot of them, the targeting system doesn't work or like broken and whatnot, that they had to figure out how to fix the targeting system on the Abram tanks and whatnot. So they had to do a lot of legwork to get these equipments to work. But the Biden admin actually, as much as they claimed they supported, all what we sent them like broken equipments, and they still managed to get them to work or at least revive a lot of them or some of them and get it to the battlefield and use them properly. If we had given them proper weapons that actually works and proper targeting packages with the intel, I think they would have pushed Russia back all the way to the they probably would have taken their land back.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow, that's heavy.
Yeah. And I still believe if we send them the proper equipment and manage it properly, like have people actually on the ground, count it, make sure it's actually going to the military units that's supposed to be going to, and I believe they can take their land back and push Russia all the way back to Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of force do you think they need to have to be able to do that? Are we talking 300,000 troops in this fight, or is it just the weapons? Because you're going to need mass numbers, because that's what Russia has right now. They have what seems to be just an endless supply of young men that they can send out into that meat grinder. And it seems like I've heard as much as 5 to 1 is what what it is.
Like last week, I'm on a bunch of OSINT sale, like from different groups here on the ground. Mm-hmm. Russia lost 20,000+ people.
Wow.
In just 5 days.
Wow.
Like literally, I was loading up on the train from Kyiv to Odessa 2 nights ago, and I get the notification. It was like, during these few battles going on at the front, Russia lost 20,000+ people, and the Ukrainian lost about 3,000-4,000. So yeah, there's still heavy casualties, but it's about 5 to 1-ish ratio. But Russia has obviously a country of 150 million people. Plus you got you got North Korea, jumped in. Actually, I did see North Korean IDs and uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I went to the World War II museum, and they had dedicated a few sections. One to the U.S. Volunteers, and they're all prior Rangers, Green Berets, SEALs, died over there. Actually, I cried because I saw my countrymen.
Wow.
Yeah, and it took. Actually, get emotional about it right now because.
Yeah, man.
I don't care about the politics of it. Those are U.S. citizens. Those are brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Died for what they believe it's right. And,
well, it's funny, man. Those are the moments where there's nobility in death. You know, even in the face of, war, and the older I get, the more I'm repulsed at how whimsical those in power wage war to the detriment of us who seem to have to be the ones who engage in it. But there is some nobility in volunteering for what you believe is an existential threat. Right. And we've seen that throughout human history, and those battles and those people who stand their ground against Goliath. Right. There's a nobility in that.
Absolutely.
And I like, do you feel that in the people around you that this is a noble endeavor? And then have you run into people that are like, no, this is the dumbest thing ever in the world. We shouldn't be doing this. And
not even one person.
Wow.
Yeah. Not even one person. I've talked to men, women, young people, old, young, different ages. They are not giving up. Every person I spoke to, they were like, they're indiscriminately targeting civilians, kids, apartment complexes. And it's like, if Russia thinks they're going to break our spirit, matter of fact, they made it even stronger just because they're daily and indiscriminately attacking kids' playgrounds, schools, apartment complexes. And like a few days ago, there's a town called Ternopil. It's actually on the Polish border. There's a drone hit and killed. Last time I checked, I haven't checked the updated story, but it was 32 people. 6 kids died.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful. And beautiful kids. And a mom with her 2 childs. They just disintegrated. And this is happening daily in Chernihiv. It's another town northeast of Kyiv. They're being getting hit the past 3 days hard, and a bunch of people died already. I haven't checked. I'm probably going to go there next after Odessa, because the past few days they got attacked massively. So hopefully I can get over there and get some videos of the civilian buildings who got hit and whatnot. But these people are, like, the spirit they have is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It reminds me by the spirit of the American people after the 9/11 attack.
Okay.
Yeah. How we Americans got unified against terrorism, and that's where they at. That was their moment. That's their 9/11 moment, basically.
Right.
So it's basically the same thing happened back in 2001 to Americans. Everybody unified against terrorism. And that's where the Ukrainians are right now. And that's the best way I can describe it.
That's fantastic to hear, because you get fed so many stories, recent stories about there's an inside schism in Zelensky's senior leadership. There's people vying to try and figure out how to get him out of control or get him out of power. Are you hearing anything like that from higher ranking sources or government personnel that you're talking to? Is there a divide at the highest level in and around Zelensky right now?
There's some going on. at the parliament level. But I can tell you what, a little nugget people doesn't know. The military has a lot of influence on what's happening in politics. So if the military actually wants Zelensky out, they will get him out. And if they want to keep him in, they will keep him in. And from my understanding is the military leadership has significant amount of influence on what's going to happen politically in the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's usually the way it works in these kind of environments. You know, once the military kind of establishes itself in these regional wars, they have a tendency. I mean, we saw it in Egypt after the Arab Spring, right? We've seen it in a bunch of other countries where when the country becomes destabilized, usually it's those internal the military comes up and gains power and contains that. All right, let's back it out a little bit for a little bit. Just a few more questions for you. Obviously the peace process is going on, another peace process. Hopefully, this one we get to some resolution here soon. But what I saw just a site released what they said from the Telegram released what they said was the European Union response their what they want to see in the peace process. And in there, I mean, it's pretty, I mean, it's like Ukraine membership in NATO, based on an alliance, a consensus within the alliance that supports them. Territorial negotiations start from the current line of control. And then Ukraine will be fully reconstructed and compensated financially through a Russian sovereign assets. And then, you know, I heard a woman at a representative at the UN basically said, we're not negotiating any of the territory that we've lost to Russia. That's not even on play. We're not going to stop until that's back. What we actually need is just money so we can fight more efficiently, i.e. the weapon systems. And then Zelensky himself said it's against the law for me to give up that land. I would be going against my oath as president. So it seems, you know, and then you look at the Trump administration. Now Rubio's just banging his fist saying, no, things are progressing nicely. And then Trump, you know, over the last week or so, you know, one day he's all in for supporting Ukraine. The next minute he's like, you know what? They can have at it. He and NATO and European Union, they can go do what they want. I'm out. And so that's got to be incredibly frustrating, I would imagine, for the Ukrainian people who kind of feel like all these external parties are the ones kind of calling the shots. What do Ukrainians feel the negotiations should be focused on, and who do they feel should be involved?
They definitely want to be involved directly in the negotiations because they want to play a key role into what's going to happen in their own country. And I understand that because if I were them, I don't want to be negotiated on my behalf by somebody else. But at the same time, obviously, they are in the situation they are right now. So that's why you got all these external forces. But at the same time, these people are extremely proud, and dignity matters to them. And if any peace deal happens or some sort of a settlement to this war happens, they don't want to feel undignified. They want to maintain their dignity, and I respect that, and I understand that. And so that's what the sentiment are. And in the street, everybody you talk to in the street, it'd be like, I don't want to be disrespected, and I don't want to lose my dignity. Plus, how do you want us just to give our land? It's like, that's our land. It was like, we just, like, no one on the street, like regular people on the street I talk to, every single one of them, they don't want to give their land to Russia. They want their land back. So I don't know how you settle that, to be honest with you. I have no idea.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's got to be the most challenging thing there is. I mean, obviously, Russia now in its own wisdom, and if you listen into, what Pepelov or whatever the president and then the Secretary of State guy, they're all like, listen, this wouldn't have happened if we didn't feel like you were encroaching. So they want this protective section that, it gives them a buffer from launching attacks into them and all this, and to concede land that you've already gained, man. There's not a lot of examples in history where that took place, for sure. And it's, that's, I think, the crux of this whole thing is that land that's been captured. All right. Last question for you. What are you going to do as you continue to travel around the country? Is there a particular thing you're going to focus on trying to learn about the people and about the environment that's taken place? And can you describe what you're hoping to accomplish in the next however many weeks you're going to be there?
My plan originally to stay 6 months, and I've been here for 20 days. So I have a long way to go. And I'm trying to hit every city I can to show the actual damages specifically on civilian infrastructure, not critical infrastructure like apartment complexes, schools, playgrounds, and stuff like that. I just wanted to understand what the Ukrainians suffering every day on the ground by indiscriminate attacks. Because when I came here, I found out you cannot record and take pictures of military and security service infrastructure. If it got hit or anything like that, they don't want those footage out. Because they don't want to show Russia, I guess, how much damage happened.
Yeah. Your BDA, right?
Yeah, your BDAs. Yeah. And so militarily, yeah, I understand that. And so I shifted focus on, I was like, okay, let me talk to the civilians. And if I can make it to the front line, that'll be cool. So I'm trying to raise additional funds to get my actual journalistic credentials paid and approved, and so I can submit it to the military and security service, so I can get embedded with a military unit to go to the front line to show people what the trenches looks like. And I'll get to that point when I get to it. And in the meantime, I'm hitting different towns to show the daily drone attacks. And if they hit civilian buildings, I try to show people it's like this. To me, it's like a terroristic tactics, what Russia is doing. It's like if you're discriminately or deliberately hitting civilians, you're trying to scare people into submission, and they're not. And yeah, if they lose, it's sad. They do a funeral, everybody come together and whatnot, and they go about their day next day, just like, and the same thing reminded me about Iraq, Afghanistan. They lose people, funeral, 3 days in Islam, whatever. And after that, they go about their business and move on. And so same thing happening here, and unbreakable spirit. Today I was at the Black Sea, and I went over there to actually record a video, because what the Russians, they were doing, they were using sea mines and unchained. So whatever the wave takes them, and hoping they get to the shorelines and hit people who are swimming at the beaches and whatnot. And a bunch of people died. And the last incident happened, it was a year ago, where the last 2 women died from these sea mine basically getting sent to the shorelines. 2 women died. The last 2 women died, it was about a year ago, until the Ukrainian Navy started hitting the fleet in Sevastopol, and the Russian had to actually move their entire fleet from Sevastopol into Kerch. So basically on the other side of Crimea. And so that's the tactics the Russians are using to just indiscriminately killing civilians. And you're hearing the stories from these people. It's heartbreaking, honestly. And it never gets easy. Like, it doesn't matter how many deployments you do. It doesn't matter how many people you killed or how many deaths you've seen. It always the same thing. It breaks your heart. And matter of fact, the older you get, it kind of like worse it becomes, and like you get more emotional about it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And hopefully I just want to get the truth out. I'm not spinning anything. I don't have any agenda. I just want to tell people stories here and move on. My next one, I'm trying to go to Gaza and my mission is trying to expose the Hamas and how evil those people are. Because when I was growing up in Iraq, we used to call those guys like parasites.
Mm-hmm. I think the way you describe it is with age, you become a little bit more empathetic, even though you're more hardened by what you've seen in war, right? Because what I look at is what I see is a veteran who's lost their limbs, who lives with that. I see a mother who's lost her children, or a new wife who's got 2 little children and then their son's gone, and who live under the perpetual threat of whatever side they're coming from. And man, it's just, I think those are the biggest news stories. I think those are the stories that really mean the most to tell the story of those affected by war at the highest level. So, Steven, I just commend you on what you're doing. I really appreciate you coming on here and spending time with me. I'm really looking forward to a follow-up in a month or 2 if you want to come back on. I'd love to have you if you find something new. And then when you get back to the States, I'll have you on and we can tell your whole story. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal to hear. So I just want to wish you all the blessings in the world. Good luck. Stay safe. And why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and pitch in to help with your work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Aladdin. It's ALLIDDIN 1983 on X.com, and same thing. And I just started a YouTube channel, so I'm slowly uploading videos from talking to people or doing basically walking around here and stuff like that on YouTube. And also my GoFundMe is pinned on my X, and so you can go over there and chip in if you can. And also, I promised you to break a story on your show.
You did. That's up to you. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil your own journalistic. If you want to break it on your own channel, I'm good with that. I'm happy to have you share whatever you want to share.
Yeah,
with me.
I'll upload it, or maybe I had it scheduled, but I don't know if it went out on X or not. But actually, walking around in Odessa, and I noticed an Islamic center, and I saw a building. Mm-hmm. It looks like a mosque. And sure enough, I went to the front of the building and it says, Islamic Center of Arabic Culture. And I started sniffing around. I knocked on the door. Nobody answered. I guess no one in there. So I started sniffing around with the locals and whatnot. And come to find out, Muslim Brotherhood affiliated through Turkish businessmen and shipping businesses. So there's a lot of Turkish influence here.
Wow.
And they do shipping business. So they're very embedded with the Muslim Brotherhood. So they got a foothold here. So, and
is that, what do you think that's for, to potentially establish a relationship with the Russians for inside attacks, for terrorist attacks, or
Probably.
to move in weapons or drones, or
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of that going on. Espionage,
yep,
spying, stuff like that. And also expansion of Islam.
yep,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
we're seeing it.
for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing it. They're expanding heavily in the West. But it seems like.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Trump's getting ready to declare the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist or international terrorist organization, which is staggering that they haven't been, considering
What about the
we've
militias?
known about them since the 70s, right? With the Blind Sheikh and Zarqawi in the jails in Egypt and then in Israel. I mean, the Blind Sheikh and the Twin Towers. I mean, it's just remarkable that they've been able to kind of weave in between those designations for as long as they have. So
Yeah, I'm surprised. But like, even if you designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, we got like gazillion militia groups in Iraq right now. And the populist movement, like when the ISIS almost took over Iraq. And so they established as the populist movement front. It was like a lot of those guys, heavily Shiite, obviously, Muslim Shiite. So they're not Sunnis, but they're deeply embedded with Iran. And they're also deeply embedded with Hezbollah as well. And by default, they will operate with Sunnis to basically an enemy of my enemy is my friend, basically. Yeah. So what are we going to do about that? And there's so much to talk about from terrorist aspect of, especially in that region, and their expansion and their influence, especially also on the drug business. A lot of people have no idea. Muslim Shiite, from Lebanon and that particular region has a lot of foothold and operation in South America. And actually they started back during the Black September operations, movement, organization back in the 60s and 70s. So it goes all the way back then. We can talk about that next episode.
Yeah, I would love to dig into that with you, because I think that's really fascinating. What people don't understand is they hear these comments about Hezbollah or Hamas or, ISIS or Al-Qaeda or TTP, whatever it is, and they think strictly it's regional. They don't understand the nature of international intelligence, espionage, movement of activities, movement of finance, building new cells, recruiting all the time. It's just, and I think that's really what one of the next great, clashes in the human condition is going to be, is having whatever the next iteration of those conflicts, whether it's Muslims versus Christians, Christians versus Muslims, Muslims versus Jews. It's like, it's just a perpetuation of the same old story. And it's just evolving now to where the techniques and the tactics and the capabilities are so much more severe and life-threatening
and sophisticated,
mass population. Yeah, it's very sophisticated now. So we'll do that next time. So, Steven, again, man, thank you so much. God bless you. Be safe. And I'm looking forward to hearing your next story.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. And it's been an honor, by the way. The first big podcast I think I've been on. Maybe, it's very humbled. And I really appreciate it, David. And I look forward to it.
I saw you pop up, man, and I loved what you were writing, what you're doing. I know you're sincere and you have huge courage right now. And for me, like, and the fact that you're focused on the people, like, for me, that's what hits me the heaviest, because the people who suffer from these wars, whatever side you're on, man, that's the story. That's the amazing story. So I just commend you. God bless you, Steven.
Yeah,
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah. Till next time.
Till next time.